This is genuinely unbelievable, as Team USA has officially released their invitees to the orientation camp for the Olympic team coming next year, and while we already knew Lane Hutson wasn't invited, some of the names that were revealed on this list are absolutely mind-blowing over Hutson. We have to dive into that, plus another Hab that did get the invite, but not just that today. We got an article from Sportsnet as the Mason McTavish to Montreal talk just refuses to die. A little update on that front, and something that Alex Carrier recently had to say that just it's something that just once again personifies the incredible culture and how something huge is on the horizon for the Montreal Canadiens. All that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you guys, we are pushing for 25,000 subscribers. I know we're a bit of the way away, but still, well over 40% of you still haven't hit that button. Thank you for tuning in literally every single day, all off season long. We don't miss a day here. Go check the uploads. It's a fact. Thank you for being here. Jesse, let's start with Alex Carrier, because he had something just absolutely amazing to say, and his recent quote when talking about how many players are staying in Montreal this offseason, it was during a live on Twitter, I believe. He said, "I think it says a lot. It says a lot about how we are treated as well. Everybody wants to be here." It's the first time I heard something like that. And you don't take this kind of talk lightly, Jesse. This is something that is so incredible to hear. I mean, we know how many players are showing up at the rink this offseason. Another one today, Frank Weller, the podcast, okay, they've been tweeting a lot about this kind of stuff. But for example, Line first on the ice again today, doing his rituals with Alex Newhook, Jayden Struble, Jakub Dobeš. We got Joe Veleno coming in. We got Bolduc who's coming in soon. So many guys are sticking around the city. You can't say that for every other team. Carrier knows that. It's just one of the biggest compliments I think you can get as an organization to hear something like this.
And that's really the payoff right now of treating your team so well, is that they just start coaching themselves. Like we're seeing the drills. Like they're not just going around and skating around. Like they're in full mid-season drill mode here going forward, ramping up, getting ready for the season because they're hungry and they really want some more. But what's really so impressive right now about just this Habs organization is that how he mentioned, like, the big takeaway from this is how everyone wants to be here. Like everyone in that room. But I'm wondering, Josh, like, what's the takeaway from this, like, of other players potentially wanting to join as well in the future? We know players talk, and when this team, when they know that they're treating them so well that these players want to be here, I'm just wondering what that's going to garner in terms of interest of other players potentially want to be here. And while we're not quite, I can't say we're like that destination yet. You see the signs, we're getting there. We're more and more, it's becoming a place where players want to come to. Obviously, the success that we're having on the ice, this great young team, it's so much of part of it. But it's really like this work that we're doing behind the scenes. Like, again, it's easy to kind of discount, they're just skating around. It's like, no, it's actually like practice is what separates the best from all of the rest, right? It's the amount of time that they put into their craft, which really determines, often so much success in sports here. So the fact that the team is doing it, the culture we knew is phenomenal, but just to see it like in practice when by full right, they just don't need to be there in the middle of summer, but they're showing how committed they want to be there. They're having fun playing together. They're getting better at their crafts. So why not? And I think it's just amazing for this team.
I mean, again, we're hearing so many compliments about how the players are getting treated, how like the facilities, they treat them great. They want to be with each other. That team chemistry is something else that's been unbelievable. I feel like we haven't heard a lick of bad news. I mean, this team is just going up and up and up. It's an unbelievable compliment from Alex Carrier. He has been a stud since day one of that trade. Justin Barron for Carrier looking like a great trade now, but I think it did at the moment too. But yeah, fantastic stuff. Leave your thoughts on that down below, because that is maybe one of the most underrated aspects, the camaraderie of this team and the chemistry and wanting to be for the team that you're playing for. Really good stuff. But we want to move on, to a guy that maybe he does want to be there, maybe he doesn't want to be there, and that's Mason McTavish. And look, there was another article by Ryan Dixon at Sportsnet, linked down below. Please go check it out. There's a lot of other teams that he does mention. I suggest you go take a read, but I want to highlight what he had to say about Montreal, because again, Jesse, I feel like this never stops with Mason McTavish. I mean, there hasn't been any notable update. There's some people saying he probably won't be traded, but now, like he says in this article, there are some parallels now drawn to like the situation they had before. Drysdale ended up going for Cutter Gauthier, but the Zegras situation, that happened as well. And he said the Canadiens still have the powder to get a McTavish deal done if they were really motivated. The problem is that powder might be 2023 5th overall pick Reinbacher. He said Anaheim is like loaded on the left side. They want that kind of top four right D, but with the Canadiens part with a potential top four piece like that, if it meant filling the gap behind Nick Suzuki. And I feel like the question has now shifted to this, Jesse. Ever since some people threw out the name David Reinbacher, I mean, we threw it out as well when we heard Anaheim. Look, we know what they're looking for. We immediately made that connection. David Reinbacher makes the most sense. And now I think we were not one of the first people to talk about it. I know it's on YouTube, I think that's for sure. But, it does make sense in terms of Anaheim's trade past. But I feel like this is where everyone's going now, Jesse. We're talking about McTavish. It comes down to McTavish versus Reinbacher. And it's another article from someone at Sportsnet mentioning this deal. And I don't know. I feel like the Habs would end up regretting it. But what I will take away from this, his name, McTavish, is not coming out of the rumor mill anytime soon.
It's not. It's adding a whole lot of fuel to this fire, just as we thought it was dwindling down. But Josh, you're not alone for saying that you wouldn't trade Reinbacher for McTavish. And it's a little bit of a hot take, but at the same time, there's a lot of Habs fans that would agree with you. And we've mentioned on the show, even before it got confirmed that management felt that way, that basically it is showing right now that they don't want to trade Xhekaj or Reinbacher, especially for McTavish at this point in time. You had to feel like the deal didn't happen given the circumstances. That had to be the factors at play. It was later shown that there is a lot of truth to that going forward. But again, you have to feel like the factors of still the deal not being done this far into August, something just has to be up with their relationship. And as you alluded to earlier, there is a history of this before with Pat Verbeek, whether it's Drysdale, whether it's Zegras, of waiting for them longer to get deals right into October. Is he going to really make Mason McTavish wait later into October? There seems to be a fractured relationship. And if there is, you'd have to argue maybe there is a value of trading him to get some value back. But again, I think Reinbacher is where possibly that conversation is ending. But again, you factor in that they already have what seems like their number one center, Leo Carlson. They didn't help kind of squash those rumors by adding a Mikael Granlund, who looks like he can play that position for years to come as well. You got Roger McQueen coming up. So there's just so many different factors here. And again, time will tell if Kent Hughes is right by, taking Reinbacher over really McTavish here. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below here, because it's interesting, right? And to be fair, I could see the argument from either side, but I'm going to go with you here as well, Josh. There's a lot about Reinbacher. There's tangibles and certain intangibles that I just really like about his game a lot. And that's why I'm choosing him in this situation.
Yeah, long-term 2C, it is a thing that Montreal can need to fill, but we have kind of the guys that I feel like it might be easier to find a guy that could fill that void, especially with a lot of our talent that is going to be in that top six in the future. Again, Demidov is going to be a first-line talent, maybe playing second line, maybe Slaf, Caufield, and Line A, and whoever else coming up, Bolduc, right? These guys can all cycle in, so that 2C might not be as important to get that kind of bona fide 60, 70 point 2C. We'll have to wait and see, but that top four right D that Reinbacher's looking to be, I get why Anaheim would maybe not want to risk it on their side. McTavish for an unproven right D, and Montreal's a right D that could be top four for a good 2C. What's more valuable? We'd love to hear your thoughts down below, because this just doesn't seem to end, like Jesse said. But we're going to move on to the final thing today, and I'm really... I don't know if I want to say excited. I'm a little peeved. First off, let's just show the forwards. Let's start on the high note here, right? The U.S. men's Olympic orientation camp for the Olympic team. And, we did hear before that Lane Hutson was not invited. That's not the secret here. Wait till we show you the players that got invited over him. No shame to these players because they're good. Anyway, let's stay focused, Josh. We'll talk about the forwards. And, Cole Caufield is a guy, Jesse, that, I'm happy did get invited because he was, snubbed there for nations, and we were saying, look, he's got to at least get invited to this orientation camp, right? And he is, right? And Cole Caufield, once again, had an unbelievable season last year. For the first part of the season, I was convinced this dude was going to score 50 goals. Oh my gosh, he started the season he took off like a rocket ship. He was unbelievable. Slowed down a little bit, but still managed a career high across the board, 37 goals, 70 points. Whether he makes the team, we'll have to wait and see. Team USA is very deep, but Caufield brings some of the best goal-scoring talent from the wing, Jesse, and I'm just very happy to see at least he got some recognition because he's one of those guys that you got to imagine a lot of the guys really want to be around, is really fun to play with, and hey, that means a lot too, let alone the fact this dude could very well put up 40 goals this year.
And this is very well deserved for Cole Caufield to at least get an opportunity really to come to the camp here. We'll see where it goes going forward, but I think that respect at a certain point is important. It is due, but just as the same way how Cole Caufield, while being stumped in the past, it's started to make some inroads and getting that respect. I see that same thing coming for Lane Hutson really in time here going forward. I know we're just going to get to that in a minute here, but Lane Hutson has really just proven so many doubters wrong. In the past, he's not, it's something that he's not used to do. It's just not his first time really having to prove some people wrong. So I really think that right now he's going to get his opportunity. And at the risk of, Team USA looking very foolish in the near future, he's going to start getting his opportunity slowly, but surely.
He has to, because look at this. Okay, look, there's lots of names here I understand, right? Okay, let me just preface this. Let me go to Marc-Olivier Baudouin actually first, because he said, look, the 16 defensemen, there's 16 of them, but not Lane Hutson, and he got the Calder. He was 9th. The guy who was 9th in Norris voting wasn't one of the 16 American defensemen to get invited. 6th most points of any defenseman. He's probably, as Marc-Olivier Baudouin says, a top 20 defenseman in the league. He was ranked 19th by the NHL Network. And I understand that his style might clash with something like Quinn Hughes, right? There's guys that fill the need that Lane Hutson would bring. I'm not saying that's not true, because it is. But when you look at the rest of this list and you see that, look, again, no slander to Jackson Lacombe or Alex Vlasic or, even Jake Sanderson. Like, these guys are great. Sanderson had a great 4 Nations. Vlasic and Lacombe are also very young defensemen who objectively had much worse seasons than Lane Hutson this year. I think Lacombe's going to be awesome. I think Alex Vlasic is a fantastic defenseman, especially defensively. And Luke Hughes here as well. Hutson was better than all of them. And I wonder what's going on here, because again, like you said, Jesse, he's going to get his opportunity. And you know what? As a Team Canada supporter, I kind of love that Lane Hutson's not invited to this, because that means we're not going to go up against him. And you know what it's going to do? It's going to do just what it did to Suzuki and Caufield, light a fire under his butt, I hope. I bet you he doesn't even care. He's out there training, trying to prove people wrong anyway. But yeah, I'm a little bit shook over some of the decisions here.
Especially just considering what a difference Lane Hutson is going forward here. And you have some players where you look at it, Quinn Hughes, same time, injuries happen at the same time. Just for his potential, it just seems like a guy that you would want to just keep close tabs on and just start building that good relationship early going here. At the same time, Lane Hutson's such a great combination of being extremely competitive, but also pretty cool. He forgets about things pretty quickly. So this isn't the end of the world for him. I think obviously he would have liked to have been invited, because there's no way that you're achieving what Lane Hutson has accomplished against all odds at his size unless you're competitive, unless the results matter to you in one way or another. I don't think he's going to dwell on this. At the same time, I think just he's showing what more could we really ask from this guy going forward. It's really, I think that he will start being asked to these camps in the near future. For me, it just doesn't make sense to just completely not invite him at all. Again, considering 6th most points among all defensemen in the league, period. Yes. We're not talking about Team USA last year. Just seems like a guy that you would want to have around going forward. Again, this is just nothing new for Lane Hutson to have an obstacle. He's going to overcome it. He's going to use that as fuel here going forward. And again, the word's getting out. And I think at a certain point, you're going to have no choice but to really have him around.
100%. And, my next question is, what would he have had to have done? What season this past year, what would he have had to have done for Team USA to be okay, you're at least one of the 16 defensemen invited? Are we talking a 75-point year? Is that the standard because he's 5'9"? I don't know. You'd have to be what Quinn Hughes is. And look, I understand he's got to show that he can be physical. Mind you, he was also a point per game in the playoffs. He was our leading scorer. I don't know. Anyway, leave your thoughts on this down below. We could go on about this all day. And I know you guys all have your thoughts, so we'd love to hear them. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. And hey, while you're down there, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. You will stay up to date on all the latest Habs news every single day. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.